Hello and welcome along to a new video. In this video I'll be reviewing, in my eyes, the classic 1980 horror film Death Ship. Now this has just been recently released on the 13th of July 2020 by Nucleus Films. Now Nucleus Films had already released this on DVD a few years ago, maybe about 10 years ago, and most of the stuff on here is ported over. But the main benefit for having this on Blu Ray, as well as it being in Blu Ray, on a Blu Ray in HD, is that there has been new negatives and elements found, so they have struck their master off this new footage, and it is really good that they've done that because they have got a far superior picture quality than the previous one. Now I did have this on Blu Ray from Scorpion releasing in the States, but their version I had was a bit of a lesser print, although it was alright. They upgraded theirs to this new version and also were able to get some missing footage and put it back into the film. I think it's about an extra 2 minutes. And this version, I believe, would come from that same source material. And that being said, the picture quality on here is stunning. So a little bit about Death Ship is the story of it. If anybody who hasn't seen it, is there's a great site which I've been I've been told about by Josh Fulsey-Fan 101. I urge you to check his channel out. It's very good. I've just started watching it, and he's given me a website called melonfarmers.co.uk, and they talk you through a little bit about what's cut, why is it not cut, and all that, which is great. But they've also on there, they've got a really good little synopsis of this film, which I'll read out for you. So if you don't know about this film, this is a good understanding you might get of this film. Unbeknown to the passengers on board a cruise ship in the Caribbean, a mysterious vessel is approaching on a collision course. Despite the attempts of the crew to avert disaster, the liner is lost with all hands down, except for 7 survivors. They are saved when they clamber aboard a ghostly freighter, where they discover an even worse fate. They are now prisoners on a former wartime vessel. As this ship speeds towards an unknown destination, they realize that something is intent on destroying each and every one of them in a gruesome and terrifying way. It's not a ship, it's a killing machine. That's a really good synopsis of this film, far better than any one that's on the back of here. But if you're thinking about what this is all about, that's a really good way of putting it. Now, this is a kind of, in the way of packaging, it's just a bare bones release. You don't get any booklets, and you don't get much in the way of, well, anything really, apart from what I consider to be the amazing original cover that was on the movie poster, which is one of my favourite movie posters. I would love this thing on my wall if I could do that. It's one of the things that drew me into the cinema on release, where I saw it on one night. I would pay on the Monday. I got a sort of concession fee for 50 pence, and then it went up to full fee for the rest of the week. And I know on this film, I definitely saw it on the Monday, and it was that good that I wanted to see, or that I enjoyed it that much that I wanted to see it for the rest of the week. So I know that I went the rest of the week. Now, interestingly enough, it's now been upgraded to an 18, whereas before on the DVD it was a 15. Now, I was thinking that we might have found a little bit more footage for the infamous shower scene, but that seems to be exactly the same as it was, and I don't know why, after watching most of this disc, I don't know why there's any reason to upgrade it to an 18, but they have, and it's irrelevant really. But for me, if it's funny, because back in the day when you used to watch this film, you used to always know that it's not like a splatter fest, it's not like a shock fest. So to give it an 18 certificate seemed to be a bit harsh. Now a 15 seems to be more just to me, so don't be expecting some really out there scenes, because I don't think they have. Apart from the shower scene, which is a bit infamous, I don't think it's got anything in there that's really super shocking. But I do think it's I don't think it's a frightening film, but I just love the whole thing about it. It's just something that really resonates with me with this film. That means that on day of purchase, that was an essential buy. It might have been a little bit expensive. You could probably definitely get this in the forthcoming weeks and months for about £15, which I think is a good price to pay. I think I paid £17 and I think it's up to £19 on Amazon now. I think that's a little bit overpriced, especially as you can imagine if Arrow got a hold of this and they sort of done one of their amazing versions of it, I'm sure it would be a bit more around about the £19 price. But I'm not taking anything away from it. The people who like this movie would probably pay that price or thereabouts, so I'm not slighting it in any way. So in audio, I checked out the audio. I watched it with a £5 round, so the 5.1 surround audio mix, and I really enjoyed it. I could tell that the sound was a little bit wider than it normally was. You do get the original mono audio, and which you can tell the difference. I did check them out side by side, and you can tell a difference with the 5.1 upgrade. You can see that that's a definite thing, and you get an isolated music score, which is the first time I've really watched the isolated movie score. It means that when the movie's playing, there's nothing on it till the music that's actually on the music behind what is playing on the screen. You hear that, so it's a little bit odd that they would watch a film like that. I don't know why you would want to watch it. The music score here is quite good, but it's nothing that's like exceptional, so I don't know why that option, well, the option's there, but it's one that I don't think I'll be visiting. And there's also an audio commentary with director Alvin Rakoff and also English Gothic American horror comic Gothic author Jonathan Rigby. Now Jonathan Rigby, I like his stuff that he does. He usually does a lot of stuff on the Studio Canal versions of the Hammer films. You'll see a lot of his work on there, and I think he's very interesting. And also I find that I can really listen to him, so I would imagine I would love to watch. I don't usually watch commentaries that much. There's got to be a good reason behind it. But with Jonathan Rigby on there, I do feel like he's a good moderator, and I do think that he brings across a good commentary, which I would definitely want to watch. Listen to, should I say. And also on here, it's got Stormy Seas Redo, The Voyage from Bloodstar to Death Ship, featuring interviews from director Alvin Rakoff, actors George Kennedy and Nick Mancuso, plus writer Jack Hill, 43 minutes. Now, that was definitely on the original Blu Ray, and I think it was probably on, yes, it was on the Scorpion release from America. Now, I don't know why it's called Stormy Seas Redo, because I only think that the redo part of it might be, because it does have a credits to 2020 for Mark Morris. Now, Mark Morris, you can see him doing a lot of stuff on extras, things that come across with, say, a lot of Nucleus stuff he does with. So I don't know if he's sort of tweaked anything in there, maybe put some more stills in there, or maybe more upgraded the picture quality on the clips that they use from the film. Maybe it's so, but it doesn't seem that much different at all from the original one, but it doesn't matter, because that original making of sort of thing or behind the scenes is really good, and it tells you a lot of little like strange things about the film, and also it tells you a lot about the fact of how they behind the scenes they were kind of not really taking the film too seriously, and were just maybe just having jokes all the way through this shoot of this film, which is quite interesting. I like that, finding out that sort of stuff. Now, the main thing that I think is extra on the extras is the fact that you get you get 3 times trailer reels featuring the theatrical works of Alvin Rakoff, Jack Hill and Harold Greenberg. They're like actors, producers, writers. Now what they've done is they've just taken trailers from their sort of back catalogue, and they've put them all together. Now there must be about an hour plus of their trailers, which I'm really forward and interested to looking at, because they do there's with, say for instance, Jack Hill, you get trailers for like films like Spider Baby. Now Spider Baby is one of my favourite films, and Arrow have released it. It's a great version. I urge you to check that film out. It's really mad, and I can't describe how much of a strange film and oddity it is, but it's really worth a watch. And it's so check out Spider Baby. But getting back to, I think you'll get a lot of information on trailers that you might want to check out some of the other people's work, which I'm not familiar with at all. Well, not most of them anyway. Especially not Alvin Rakoff. I don't know what else he's done. I probably haven't even seen anything else he's done. Also, Bloodstar, selected pages from Jack Hill's original script. Now the original script was for a film called Bloodstar, which is a lot different to the film Death Ship that ended up as, and there's reasons for that which is explained why that altered. I do prefer the fact of thinking that they could have took some of the elements from Bloodstar and put them into Death Ship. Wow, put my teeth in. But it doesn't take away my enjoyment of this film. It might not be to everyone's taste. Some people might say it as a horror. It's not the most frightening of films. It's not the most bloodthirsty of films. But for me, I just love the ship. I just love the fact that you've got this huge black ship which looks sinister and malevolent, and its goal is just to go around and sink ships, basically. But there's a bit of a backstory to that of why that happens. And also there's some talk about the ship and about the fact of it not really working, a bit like Jaws. The ship isn't working. There's also, I'll just go back to my notes here. There's also a thing on here called an extensive image gallery, which sometimes I look at and I'm not really that interested in. But on this one, you get tons and tons, maybe about 8-9 minutes of movie posters, lobby cards, and you also get quite a few reviews from here, there, and everywhere. And I think I've just flicked through them. I will go and watch them properly, but the reviews they've got of this film that they've got from this sources, it seems like every one of them is bad. It's given this film, slating it as saying it's one of the worst things you can ever see. Now I'm quite interested in that because it was a big hit at the cinema, and I don't know why. For me, I can see some of the reasons when they say because it's got that TV movie element to it, which means it might not be full on. If it wasn't a TV movie, it might be a bit more outlandish, but I don't know. I wouldn't give it that review to say that it's one of these so bad it's good films. I don't think it's like that at all. And plus as well, if you think about it, if this film is now getting this stellar version redone that went back to original negatives for a film, it's got to have something to it, because if it didn't, they would never bother doing that. And I would think that this one would be quite a good seller. Now, this here, there's some stuff on the back. It's not really going to tell you much on the back, and I don't know if they would ever have. I would like to see a company like Arrow take it up and just see what they could do with it, because I would imagine going for that image gallery, there would be quite a lot of things they could do with this film in the way of packaging. But it is what it is, and I do appreciate it. It's probably the same as the DVD was. So for me, if you're thinking about upgrading, I would do that, because your picture quality on here is a massive upgrade from the previous DVD, of course, in the UK, and even from the US original Blu-ray, it's a definite upgrade. I don't know. I think the new US upgrade will be the same version as this. Also, as well, there's 2 deleted scenes. They're only minutes, seconds each. Maybe the course of a minute, but they're just 2 that the quality on it was that bad that they didn't want to put it into the original film. The version that they've got now, they've put this extra scene in it, which they found probably on the original negatives, and they have put it back in. There's also a very good little sort of little thing on here that says, I don't know if it mentions it on here at all, but it has a comparison in the shower scene between the version that they had for the TV and the original, the one that's on the film. Now there's 2 things they've done with it. On the TV one, they've made it darker, so you can't see as much. On the Blu-ray, it's much lighter, and also it's got bits where you can see they've taken certain clips, so you don't see certain things. And it's quite interesting when you see it, because when you look at the version that they've took that from, which is probably like a regular TV version in standard definition, and to see how sort of much information that you don't see on the TV version. I'm talking about like what the picture shows, like in when you see scenes of like in rooms, how you can see objects and stuff like that and things on the wall. On the TV version, you can barely see anything but the people walking through various sets or parts of the ship. And on the new version, you can see everything in this room. It's quite an eye-opener to how good this picture is from, you know, the pictures that you would have been happy to have on your original, maybe the original VHS was like that, in darkened places. And I remember it being quite dark, actually, apart from the outdoor scenes where you've got on the ship where it's bright. But anyway, so to recount on this, if that's even the word, on this release, I personally highly recommend it. I love this film. I always have done since I've got it. I've watched it countless times. It might be an acquired taste. It might not be to everyone's cup of tea, but I urge you just to check it out, see what you think of it. If this is a blind buy or this is your first time around, I would imagine that if you're a fan of 1980s horror and that type of thing, you would know that it kind of does fit into that mold, but it also doesn't fit into it because, to be honest, I don't know of another film that's like it. That's another reason why I like it. It's kind of a one of a kind, and for me, it's an essential buy. So, hope that was of use to you and some interest to you. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and also if you'd like to leave some comments down below, I'd be happy to answer anything. Or what is your view on this film, and what do you think of this brand new release? Do you think it's worth the money? I certainly do. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.